videos every Friday, or at least I'm trying to. The next book that I'm reading is The Lost by Jack Ketchum. I don't think I'm going to be reviewing that one. I am less than halfway through it. It is 400 pages, and it's just kind of fucking... Might not have a video next Friday, depending on how long that takes me to read, because I'll have to read that, shelve it, and then read another one, assuming that it doesn't get really fucking dark, which it might. I skimmed around a little bit. It seems like it might. Anyway. If only I had known. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Canine Cannibalism. Today we are going to be taking a look at The Lost by Jack Ketchum. The book is 394 pages, including an epilogue, 2 parts, and an afterword. Those parts are broken up into a total of 48 chapters. I'll give you a quick blurb. In this book, a sociopathic boy kills 2 young girls and gets away with it. Everything is fine until he snaps. You may remember what I said at the end of last video, assuming you saw it. If you didn't, I'd probably put it at the beginning of this video. I was wrong. I was so terribly, terribly wrong, or I think I was right, technically, because I said that there was a chance that it would get really weird at the end. And then it did. Not weird, but more just normal Jack Ketchum stuff. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with how these videos go, I'm going to give you a content sample, which, as the name would suggest, is a content sample. It's kind of like a trigger warning, but a little more robust than that. I'm going to give you a review, going to give you a plot summary, and then we might have some other things to talk about at the end after that, but most likely we'll be done. So, let's jump right into a content sample for The Lost. If you were to pick up a copy of The Lost by Jack Ketchum and read it, you would find all of the following: gore, torture, mutilation, and death. There is also sexual abuse in the book, including a pretty detailed description of sexual assault. There are some pretty heavy allusions to rape, specifically at the end of the book. So, yeah. There's also homophobia in the book, specifically hate crimes, and there is intimate partner abuse. And that is it. So, pretty bare bones content sample. I don't know why I'm even saying that, considering the last 10 books I've done have been pretty bare bones content samples. The next book is not. The next book is the reason that there are 17 categories on my template. Let's jump into a general review now. So, if you, again, watched my last video, you will remember that I was saying things like, it's a whole lot of fucking nothing. It felt like nothing in my head, in an abstract way, if that makes sense. And that's true for the first half of the book, which isn't nothing, all right? The book is 400 pages. What did I just say? It's 394 pages? Yeah. So that's not nothing for the first 200 pages to just feel like fucking horseshit. But the second half, which I had not gotten to when I made my review last week, is a whole different ballgame. There is a lot of tension that continues to build throughout, that approaches a crescendo point. It reaches the crescendo. There's a moment of extreme catharsis and a subsequent fall off. So it's like if you were in 3rd grade and you drew those fucking story arc things and were forced to introduction, rising action, climax, like that. It feels like that, but pushed to the second half of the book. So for the first half, it's just kind of fucking nothing. And then the story happens, if that makes sense. I was reading some reviews, and one person said it raises suspense throughout the book, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and I really just have to disagree. This is a really, really hard concept to try to get across to you. It's not that it was bad. It's not that the first half of the book was bad. It wasn't even mediocre. The prose Jack Ketchum's prose is incredible, okay? It is so good. His prose is so good. The way that he writes characters is great. The dialogue is fucking incredible. I really have no complaints on those fronts. It just felt like nothing. It held like no weight in my head. I might be talking out of my ass here. Other people who have read this might have a completely different opinion than me. Most people, rather, might have a completely different opinion than me. But I didn't care. It's not even that I didn't care because the opening scene with the two girls is very, like, brutal. It's just like the first half of the book held no emotional weight, if that makes sense. Like, I cared about the characters. It held no emotional weight. And I was just kind of flipping through pages like, oh yeah, cool. And it wasn't like a page turner in the sense that I would skip, it would be like however long later, and I'd be like, oh my God, I just read 50 pages. It was like nothing. It was like I was just going through the motions and reading the book. And then I happened to be 50 pages later and down an hour. Like, I really don't know how to get this across in a concrete manner because it is a really abstract concept. I don't know how to explain this to you any more thoroughly. So I'm just going to leave it there and I'm going to get to other stuff. But know that the first half of the book is just kind of like air, if air was written down. Again, it's not bad. It's just I'm looping. We're just gonna continue. Um, when the tension starts to build, when the main character snaps, really is what that comes down to, and that's like what. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Uh, not even, not even really when the character snaps. It's more. I guess it is just the second part, isn't it? Yeah, when there's more pressure being applied and yeah. So it's really just the second part is when the tension starts to rise, and then it gets very fast paced, not in a bad way. It's very like a lot of shit is happening. It feels really fast. It's really not that fast. It's over a good number of pages, but it starts to happen very rapidly, and then as a result, like you start reading faster, and so it feels like it's happening faster. And that effect was very. I really did enjoy that effect. I liked that everything just started happening. Also, the story was excellent. Even the it's not again, it's not boring. I really don't know how to get this across any easier. It's not boring. The first part wasn't boring, but even the first part, the story was excellent. The story throughout is excellent. It's more like I mean Jack Ketchum. I haven't read a book by him that's missed yet, so the story is great. Again, I'm racking my brain trying to figure out a way to explain my feelings on the first part more than it was just emotionally weightless, even though I cared about the characters. We're going to jump into our ratings now. If you're unfamiliar with how this works, I have a rating system. I give books ratings for for their different attributes, so things like character development, plot, that kind of thing. I'm going to say this as well. I haven't read every piece of extreme horror. I can't. It's not, I don't think it's physically possible. I have a spreadsheet laying out all of these ratings, and I will tell you that I have been going back and changing some of the ratings as I've read more books because it's like a sample size, right? Like as you get a bigger sample size, the data changes. So know that the ratings that happen in the future are going to be more accurate than the ratings that happen in the past. I mean, obviously, especially since I'm doing a system out of 10 where instead of like out of 100, which would leave a lot more room for movement, it's out of 10. So there's a lot more movement when I'm like, oh, wait, no, this definitely is a league above this, but it's not quite at this. So these two shouldn't be like they need to be more than a number apart. And then I change them in the spreadsheet. So know that my ratings as time goes on will be more accurate and that I do change them. Don't take the ratings too seriously. It's just kind of a method of pinpointing my feelings on certain aspects of a book. Don't take the ratings for like how disturbing something is and how gross something is as serious. Like especially do not take those as serious because that is like completely subjective. There's not really a way to quantify that. So don't take don't take any of this seriously is really what I'm saying. Use I'm going to get into a little bit of a tangent here. You should use videos like this not as gospel. I understand I have like 30 views a video, so that's not really an issue for me. But especially with like movie channels, like big movie channels, people take what they say as gospel, and that's really not what you should be doing. You should find someone whose tastes align mostly with yours in whatever medium, and then judge your interest in something based on their reaction to it, and then go and read it if it sounds interesting to you and form your own opinions on it. You should use videos like this as a jumping off point. Do not take anything anyone says as a review as gospel, because all of it is subjective. There are things like I can point to and be like, this has typos, it's unreadable, it's not acceptable. Like stuff like that is objective. But some people care less about that kind of thing. So it's still in a area where just form your own opinions is really what I'm saying. Take videos like this as a jumping off point and then go and form your own opinions. Okay, we're going to get into ratings now. For this first set of ratings, it's from 0 to 10, 5 being completely mid, completely mediocre, no issues by the book. So, for the first rating for plot and plot direction, I gave this book a 7. I really liked the plot. As I said, I liked the story. The story was great. There weren't any story beats that felt off. It all felt very, very good. I liked the way that he wove this immaculate it was good. The story was good. Okay. Tone was an 8. That Ketchum writing again. He does a very good job at getting a tone across through written speech, or written word rather. It's very easy to feel in a way that he is trying to make you feel. So if he's trying to make you anxious or in suspense, he's very good at getting that effect across, at least to me. I'm a very emotionally active reader. I put myself in the shoes of the characters. I'm very invested in the story. I get very invested in the story. So it works for me. Tone is an 8. Characters and character development is going to be a 7. Characters were great. No notes. Felt like they were real people in the moment. I don't think you can really say more than that. Grammars and typos was a 5. I didn't notice any typos. Didn't notice any odd usages of grammar. It's a 5. Dialogue is a 6. Again, good dialogue, good character writing. All felt very more than just a 2D character. Everything felt like actual people talking for the most part. It wasn't insane or anything, but good dialogue, nothing cringy. Felt like real people talking for the most part. Prose, again, Jack Ketchum's prose is brilliant. It's going to be a 7. He uses some interesting stylistic choices when it's kind of hard to explain. It's when like one character is thinking, and then also when really, really bad things happen, like somebody dies suddenly, almost like you're removed from the narrator or whoever is currently narrating the story's body when that happens. It's a very interesting stylistic choice. It uses italics for it. It's very interesting. It produces an interesting effect. And then just overall, the prose is very good. Not really any complaints there. He clearly has a very decent handle on the English language. So, for personal enjoyment, it was a 7. Overall, I did really enjoy it. Again, first part, a little iffy, but that second part really carried that. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good book overall. And given that I really only enjoyed like the last 100 pages, it says a lot about those last 100 pages. So, next two ratings, where 0 is completely normal and 10 is absolutely worst of the worst, these are your disturbing and gross out factors. So, for your disturbing factor, it's a 7. It was fairly disturbing. Wasn't very disturbing up until the ending, and then that shit took off. That was it was something. Gross out factor, I think this is the second 0 that I'm giving in a row. It's a 0. There's nothing gross about this book at all. This is probably his least gross book that I've read. Off season's pretty close, I think, but there's like really gross people in that book. So, and that's going to be it for your ratings. So we're going to jump into a plot summary now. Heavy spoiler warning. I'm going to spoil to you the main plot points of the book. As always, I leave out certain details in order to make this go faster, and also because it's a summary. I also change the order of certain details so that it's easier for me to tell. Therefore, if you were to go read this book, even after listening to my plot summary, you would have a very different experience, especially in this book, considering it's 400 pages and I'm giving you what, maybe a 5-minute summary? So, go read the book after or before. Click off the video now if you don't want spoilers. We're going to get into it. Now, this is the first time that I'm going to give you character summaries at the beginning since I reviewed They All Died Screaming. It's a lot of characters, a lot of moving parts. Let's get into it. One of our protagonists, Ray, is a sociopathic, narcissistic young man. He is very short for a guy and is extremely obsessed with his physical image. We have Tim, who is Ray's best friend and who mules weed and hash for him. Jennifer is a young woman still living with her foster parents and is also Ray's girlfriend or main girl, considering he has many lovers. She is privy to the fact that he has many lovers and she puts up with it because she loves him, essentially. Catherine is a new girl who Ray becomes obsessed with after a few dates. Sally is an 18-year-old who briefly worked at Ray's family's hotel before he made a move on her and physically assaulted her when she laughed at him and told him off. Detective Schilling is a man obsessed with nailing Ray for the cold-blooded murders of 2 girls, and Ed is Schilling's retired ex-partner who is seeing Sally in secret because he's like 55 and she's 18. So, they met after she was 18, so it's not really like grooming, it doesn't sound like, but very not socially okay even in like the 60s. One night in 1965, Ray is up at a campground with Tim and Jennifer. He spies a couple of girls camping in the campground, gets it into his head that they are a couple of snotty, rich lesbians, and then brutally kills them with a .22. Tim and Jennifer watch and are horrified, but they help him clean the mess up. Schilling and Ed, who were on the case, never were able to make charges stick to Ray, though they tried. Ed retired and the case still haunts Schilling. Ray meets up with Catherine for the first time and then plans a date with her. Around the same time, Sally begins working at the hotel. Ed warns her about Ray. He hits on her, or Ray hits on Sally multiple times and greatly insults her intelligence while doing so. She tells him off, he accosts her, and then she quits the job. Ray, I think it's that night, throws a party to calm himself down after being denied by Sally. Again, he's a very, very narcissistic little man, and I mean little in the mental sense. Schilling, using a tip from Ed, busts the party, kicks everyone out of Ray's apartment except for Jennifer. Ray trashes the apartment in rage and then has Jennifer suck his dick, but he's unable to get it up, so he kicks her out. Jennifer, feeling all lonely and sad, goes and fucks Tim, who has always wanted something like that between them. Ray, soon after, goes on his date with Catherine. They fuck. He confides in her that he killed 2 girls. He expresses remorse and states how awful he feels all of the time, but this is all of a lie. He does this because he came really fast when he was fucking her. He's trying to use this as a chip on the board to try to, or a piece on the board to try to gain sympathy and empathy from this girl and to make her think that he's like broken and needs fixed, and also to explain his subpar performance in bed. They're on a beach, so in sand, I guess. But it really backfires on him because obviously, again, this is okay. I'm gonna start here. This is actually a really good example of character writing. I don't know that this was entirely intentional, but from Ray's perspective, telling her that he killed 2 girls like seems like a good move, and because of the character that he is, it's believable that he would think that. But obviously, any sane human would know that that's really not a good move, especially in the way that it happens and everything, and it backfires on him, as almost anyone could see what happened, but he can't see that because of how he is. So that's just really good character writing. I don't know that that was entirely intentional. I could be reading into that a little much, but that's how it came across to me, is that is another extension of his character, of how he perceives the world around him, and it backfires on him in a way that it probably would in the real world. So Ray then, the day after, gives Jennifer a ring, a literal ring, and tells her it's a diamond, letting her know that she's his main girl and always will be. Jennifer feels special and ghosts Tim. Schilling then visits Tim and Jennifer separately, pressing them for information on Ray, hoping for a break in the case. During his talk with Jennifer and her subsequent talk with Tim, she finds out that the ring is fake. Essentially, Ray keeps a drawer of fake rings that he gives to girls whenever they're like feeling bad about being with him so that they will not feel bad about being with him. So she finds this out. She's really mad. Catherine's mother dies. She does some thinking while attending the funeral and getting things in order and tries to let Ray down easy because obviously the guy's fucking nuts. He confessed to killing people to you. Whether he's lying or not doesn't really matter. It's a little more complicated than that in the actual book, but I'm not going to get into it. Ray freaks out when she tries to let him down, doing the whole, oh, it's another guy, blah, 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 blaming her, you fat fucking whore, nice guy behavior, that kind of thing. Jennifer, this is the same day, drives to Ray's apartment, which is located on the premises of his parents' hotel. She verbally assaults him, tells him that she's fucking Tim, which is kind of a lie, and then throws the ring in his face, scratching him, which he becomes kind of obsessed with because he's a little narcissistic man. He goes to hit her, but his mother stops him. Ray, that same day, gears up with his .22 and .38 revolver. First, he goes to his parents' house on the hill and shoots his mother. He begins driving. He decides to get food, and unfortunately, Sally and one of her friends are parked nearby in the drive-thru, or it's a drive-in theater actually, not a drive-thru. He walks up to the car, shoots her friend in the face at point-blank range, and forces Sally into the trunk of his car while a crowd watches. Next, he goes to Jennifer's house, shooting her foster father dead immediately and severely wounding her foster mother. He forces her into the trunk with Sally. He goes to Catherine's house. She nearly gets away, but he catches her at the last second and shoots her father, although he doesn't die. Schilling and Ed, along with the rest of the police department, begin searching for the lost girls. Tim is brought into the station and immediately starts squealing because he took Jennifer, and he's upset that Ray took Jennifer. Ray takes the girls up to a house that he and Tim broke into, squatted in, and trashed when they were younger. After breaking in, they come in contact with a young couple in the house. He forces the man of the couple to tie the three girls to a chair, or two chairs, rather. He then tries to get him to tie his pregnant wife to a chair, at which point the man hesitates. Ray shoots him in the back of the head. Catherine, at this point, tries running, so Ray shoots her in the back. Tim realizes where Ray could be, being the house, and the cops all pile into cars. Ray then slits the pregnant wife open with a hunting knife while she holds her dead husband. He's talking about taking her baby out because there's like a whole subplot about like the characters finding out about the Manson family and everything and how like they cut out whatever the actress's baby, and so he like gets kind of obsessed with that. So he goes to cut out her baby, but he doesn't because Sally then bashes him in the face with a lamp, cutting him. He manages to stop her and begins forcing her to remove her clothes while he begins masturbating. He gets too close to her, intending to throw his cum on her legs, and she knees him in the balls. She runs for the door, throws it open, sees Ed and Schilling walking up the stoop, smiles, and gets her side blown off by Ray's revolver. Ed rushes in and beats the fuck out of Ray. Ray reaches for his hunting knife while this is happening, and then Schilling breaks his hand. Schilling's like trying to reach down to Ed and be like, come on, man, he's had enough. He's had enough. And then he sees that Ray is reaching for his hunting knife, and so he stops touching Ed and then goes over and snaps the kid's hand with his boot. That's the catharsis that I was talking about. It's very cathartic because you're reading, and as I was reading, I was getting closer and closer to the book, and then it builds up, and then Ed rushes in after seeing Sally get shot and beats the fuck out of this kid, and it is so cathartic. It's so good. YouTube, it's a video game, or I guess it's a book. Everyone's okay. It's all make believe. Ray is sent to prison for his crimes, and Jennifer vows to leave town. Tim is alone and kind of ostracized by pretty much everyone around him. His parents don't really talk to him, it kind of feels like. Ray, in prison, ends up being some big guy's bitch. The guy details how he repeatedly raped Ray. He also mentions that he was a skag junkie before prison and that he misses sharing needles at parties. He notes that recently he has been getting very sick, and, in fact, just the other day, he noticed some weird bumps on his skin. He should really get that checked out. And then the book ends. Let's talk about that last part really quick, because I was thinking about this, right? I don't know that I like that very much. I don't know that that does much for the book, because again, you have the really big cathartic outlet of, well, that's tautology. You have the cathartic scene with Ed beating the absolute dog shit out of Ray, right? And then, I don't know, the prison scene just kind of, it didn't rub me the wrong way. It just didn't, I don't think it had the effect that Ketchum wanted, because I get it, right? This guy's an evil piece of shit, and we're supposed to feel happy that he gets the shit beaten out of him, his good looks are squandered, and that he gets made some guy's bitch in prison. Personally, that doesn't ever, like, I really wouldn't wish that on, like, my worst enemy, but I get the point, okay? I just, I mean, we had the big cathartic scene. I feel like this is kind of just wasted. Like, oh, yay, he also went to prison and got raped by a guy who had AIDS. But, like, it doesn't really fill me with a sense of catharsis. It's just like, okay. I mean, that might be different for other people. That might have what I believe to be the intended effect, which was, yay, evil guy gets his complete comeuppance. I don't know. I just felt it was kind of wasted after the kicking the shit out of him scene. But that's just me. Anything else? Is that it? I think that's it. Okay. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, ring that notification bell. God, I sound like a YouTuber from 2016. I release videos every Friday just like this, or at least I try to. Sometimes it is hard for me to read a book a week, considering that is not all I do, but I try to make it work. It's worked pretty well so far. As always, form your own opinions. I know I had a big spiel on that in the center. I'm still going to say this anyway. Go read the book. I liked the book for the most part. It was a decent book. So go read it. Go form your own opinions. Even if you watch this whole video, I will put a link to the book or to a copy of the book in the description, as I always do. And I think that's it. See ya.